Welcome back. You're watching News9 Live with me, Nehal Khanna. Our next story is from France. Is France experiencing its own Black Lives Matter and George Floyd moment? France is currently in the throes of unrest after a police officer shot and killed 17-year-old Nahel in Nanterre, a Paris suburb. 2 consecutive nights of protests have erupted in the city and spread to other regions. The officer allegedly fired at the teenager while he was attempting to escape from the police, citing concerns for his own safety. The entire incident was captured on camera. 17-year-old Nahel, of Algerian and Moroccan heritage, was driving a car on Tuesday morning when he was pulled over for breaking traffic rules. The teenager was too young to hold a full driving license in France. The police initially reported that one officer had shot at the teenager because he was driving his car towards him. But this version of events was quickly contradicted by a video that began circulating on the social media soon after. The police officers claim they drew their weapons and aimed them at the driver to stop him from taking off in the vehicle. However, the driver, that is this teenager, Nahel, did pull away, at which point the police decided to shoot. A bullet hit Nahel through an arm and chest, and his car crashed. The officer, who fired a single shot, said he wanted to prevent the car from leaving as he feared someone may be hit by the car. This officer now faces preliminary charges of voluntary homicide or manslaughter. Based on an initial investigation, the prosecutor has said the conditions for the legal use of the weapon were not met in this case. As we said, Nahel was of North African descent. The incident has fed long-standing complaints of police violence and systemic racism inside law enforcement agencies in France, from rights groups and within the ethnically diverse suburbs around major cities in the country. High-profile football stars, celebrities and political leaders have expressed outrage over the teen's killing. A bullet in the head, it's always the same people for whom being in the wrong leads to death. That's what a French national team player, Mike Magnon, wrote on Twitter. Several people have died or suffered injuries at the hands of the French police in recent years, prompting demands for more accountability. France also saw protests against racial profiling and other injustices in the wake of American black man George Floyd's killing by the police in Minnesota in the United States. Tuesday's killing in France is the 3rd fatal shooting during traffic stops in that country so far in 2023. Last year, there were a record 13 such shootings, 3 in 2021 and 2 in 2020. Data shows the majority of victims since 2017 were black or of Arab origin. Clashes first erupted on Tuesday night in and around the Paris suburb of Nanterre, where Nahel was killed. Bins were set on fire. Some protesters threw fireworks at the police. Officers then used tear gas to disperse the crowds. The government immediately deployed 2,000 police to maintain order in that Paris suburb, but violence resumed soon after. Around 40,000 police have now been mobilized across France. Instances of violence have erupted in Marseille, Lyon, Pau, Toulouse, Lille and certain parts of Paris as well. The police and firefighters have struggled to contain protesters and extinguish numerous blazes that have damaged schools, police stations, town halls and other public buildings. The National Police have reported fires or skirmishes in multiple cities. The Interior Minister of France, Gerald Darmanin, has said scores of officers have been injured in the unrest. The violence has revived memories of riots in 2005 that convulsed France for 3 weeks and forced the then-president, Jacques Chirac, to declare a state of emergency in the country. The current president, Emmanuel Macron, held a crisis meeting with senior ministers over the shooting on Friday morning, the 2nd in 2 days. On Wednesday, Macron had said the shooting of the teenager was unforgivable. On Thursday, he also condemned the unrest, saying the last few hours have been marked by scenes of violence against police stations, schools, town halls, and thus institutions of the Republic, and these scenes are wholly unjustifiable. On Thursday, President Emmanuel Macron strongly denounced this violence, emphasizing the importance of reflection and serenity in response to the tragic death of a young man. The government has consistently urged for calm, and Macron reiterated the need for this approach to prevail in the days ahead, along with paying his tributes to the 17-year-old young man who died. According to a statement by the Interior Minister, close to 700 protesters have been arrested across France. In its reaction to the killing of the teenager, the United Nations has stated that France must address deep issues of racist discrimination in its police force. We are concerned by the killing of a 17-year-old boy of North African descent by the police in France. This is a moment for the country to seriously address the deep issues of racism and racial discrimination in law enforcement. That is what the UN Human Rights Office in Geneva said, reacting to these disturbing developments. As we said, the violence continues, the rioting continues, and there is tension in many parts of the country, including its capital. This is a story we'll continue to track closely here on News9 Live. For now, it's a wrap. Thanks for watching.
He thought he could outlast us. And 1 year later, the evidence is right here in this room.
Who will blink first?
So far from preventing the expansion of NATO, Russian actions have actually resulted in the expansion of NATO.
It's a mess for Russia and it's a mess for the Western world, for NATO and the United States.
Putin is a dictator, and if he loses, that means the end of his regime, and probably of him personally. So he has to keep going.
Year 2, no end in sight. Streaming now.
मैं इमरान अहमद खान नियाजी सबके दिल से हल्फ उठाता हूँ.
When Imran Khan came initially into politics, he thought his personal popularity would be sufficient for him. It didn't happen.
The retired military generals are openly saying that Imran Khan is a better choice.
Imran Khan may have bitten a bit too much, more than what he can chew.
Implosion. This and more, streaming on world's first news OTT, News9 Plus. Download now.
Who are the sharks in that shark tank? And the shark is not always profit. The shark is not always market. The shark, more often than not, is not even your angel investor or the venture capitalist.